Hello, everyone.
Howdy.
It's William and Andrew here at Allegory Gallery, and we're in our home office. One of these days, I'm going to get a new backdrop for our home office, so it's not like the old curtain and the wood paneling. Oh, it is hot in here, y'all. I am sweating.
That's because you've been running up and down the stairs.
Been running up and down the stairs. We're trying to get some of our upstairs rooms put back together, and we're having an issue with our upstairs toilet, and that's not great. So I'm looking to see what we need to do to fix that. I just fixed a leak in our basement toilet not long ago, and now the upstairs one has a problem. So I've been like running up and down and vacuuming and cleaning and doing lots of stuff, and we left the heater on in this room at like full power, so it's like very, very, very warm. I'm going to start dripping soon. So it's been a day. I don't know what the weather's been like where you're at, but here it is like slush-a-palooza over here. We had a lot of snow this morning, and then it has quickly turned into mostly slush. It's about this thick of slushiness out there, from what I can tell. I didn't go out very often, but it's running like there's like streams of water running down the sidewalk from all the rain. So, yeah, we didn't go to the cottage today like we were going to yet again. We checked on the cameras, kept an eye on the cameras at the cottage, just to make sure the power wasn't going out over there. But all seems to be good. It did blink at some point because our pellet stove went off. And so I was going to go over and fix that. But I figured with the power outages going crazy all around the area, it probably would be the moment I fixed it, I'd come back home and then it would go out again. So our split system has been running and keeping things warm. It's pretty warm outside here. It's not that bad. It's 50 degrees right now outside.
Is it really?
Yeah. So I don't think, unless we drop, and I know we're supposed to drop tonight, but hopefully all this slush kind of melts before the temperature kind of really drops, or we're going to be messy here. A lot of ice. And right now we're down to one car, the van, and the van does not like the ice or the slush or the snow. Even though we got new tires on it, it does a little better, but it is not meant for that. And so going over to the cottage is a little bit difficult. So we're trying.
Nervous, isn't I?
Yeah, we're trying to not do it as often when it gets like this.
You fix some little car.
Yeah, my dad was sick over Christmas and the holidays, and he's our helper / do-it-all person who helps us fix our car. We got all the car parts. If you don't know, Gilbert, hello. If you don't know, our car, our little car, our all-wheel drive car, didn't pass inspection because of control arm issues and some other things. So we bought all the parts, but we have not gotten them on yet because my dad wasn't feeling great. He had the flu, so we're letting him recuperate. And things have just been crazy here too. So, but we'll get them on there soon. Got all the parts to fix it, just need to get it done. And so that was today. Today we worked in the house. Andrew was working on paintings. I was working on sending out emails and text messages and kind of adding stuff to the online store, some of his new paintings, if you saw those. We've been posting them on Facebook and Instagram, but his new paintings are starting, the bigger ones are starting to get out into the world for the New Day collection. So we're going to show you those today in person. And then we're also going to show you, we have at least 2 more mixes, bead blends, luxury bead blends. Andrew's working on something over there. Maybe we'll have 3 by the end of tonight. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see, he says. So Amanda is here. Hello, Amanda. I think I lost some people because people are saying hi to other people and I don't see them in here. So if I missed your name, I'm sorry. It looks like Khalidi was here or is here. Amanda, Marianne, Norma said cold rain and strong winds, but no snow so far. That's kind of like all day today. We had snow in the morning, but then we've just had rain and strong winds here. Amanda says it's a lot colder than here. It's just above 0 centigrade here. We had heavy snow, 10 centimeters. Then it changed to rain, been raining for hours. Yeah, we got the snow in the morning, not 10 centimeters. We got maybe an inch or two, probably, I'd say, maybe 3. But let's see here. Khalees is in Tucson, had rain the other day, chilly today, 39 degrees here right now. Yeah, my watch says 48 right now outside here. So 49 actually just changed, 49. So we're pretty warm here. But it's supposed to drop a lot over the next few days and pretty quickly. Let's see here. Oh no, Donna says, what a windy day. Our willow tree blew down about 30 years old. That's awful. That's awful. Hello, Norma, Marianne, Suzanne says hello to the fur babies. June is here with us. Thank you for joining us. Oh, Khalidi says it's a sauna. It is a sauna in here right now. Amanda says the cats would love the warm room. Yeah, they would love the warm room, but they're not allowed here in the warm room. Unless they are supervised. And even then, right now, they were very bad for Andrew last night. The kittens were all very bad for him.
Mostly Tallulah.
Mostly Tallulah, the troublemaker. But
it's
yeah.
a good thing she's cute, y'all.
Andrew's about to blow his fuse.
Is Susan watching?
Is Susan what? Have I don't know if I've seen Susan. Oh no, I've not seen her yet.
Because I was like, she probably heard me.
In the middle of the night. I didn't hear you upstairs, so that's good. Amanda says, same here, William. The roads were terrible today, and there's rivers all over the place, backed up storm sewers. It's a mess. Yeah, we've got. I wouldn't be surprised if the storm drains were backed up, and I don't know what the roads are like. We decided not to go out at all today.
There is flooding down at John C. Campbell.
Okay.
In the blacksmithing part.
Yeah. Yeah, it's messy here. Anne says lots of snow here, still snowing. Suzanne says it's colder here than by you. Down there it's colder. Yeah, I was surprised. I thought it was really cold out, and I was telling Barnaby we can't go out today because it's so cold. And then he kept asking. So I'm like, okay, we'll go out for a few seconds. And I go out there and it's like 50 degrees. So he was like, see, I told you. But then people were shoveling and running around, and he did not like all that noise, and he ran back in the house.
When it gets that warm, though, I kind of don't want to shovel because then it can kind of melt on its own.
Yeah.
And then I don't have a backache. So.
Right. Well, that, and when it's slushy like this, I prefer to not shovel. I know that seems weird, but if you shovel it, it can turn to ice real quick, especially when there's so much water. So when it's slushy, at least if it turns to ice, it's like thicker ice. It's not like that glassy sheet of ice.
Crunchy ice.
Yeah, it's the crunchy ice. But whenever you shovel this and it runs like it is down rivers down the sidewalk, and then it freezes.
Then it's like a skating rink.
Yeah, that's no good. So whenever it gets like this, I know it's maybe bad neighborhood practices. I don't know, but we tend not to shovel because I would rather crunch through the ice than slip on the ice. Let's see here. What's Khalidi saying? Oh, cats, trucks, buses, semis going down my residential street must be a detour. I meant cars. Everyone's like, I was wondering what that was. Got like a parade of cats going down the street.
I would like that.
I know, right? Amanda says, I thought that must be cool. Cats detouring down her street. Oh yeah, Susan there. Susan, our neighbor, says, give Larry a treat. The wind is blowing every which way with moderate rain, says Amy. Susan says it's 50 degrees now here. Yes, it is. It's crazy. Susan, there's other Susan joining us. Hello. Hey, there's Harry joining us. Hello, Harry. Harry sounded like he had, I don't know if that was yesterday. You did some good food, some sausage, and I was seeing some of your posts, I think, today from yesterday. And it looked good. If we ate meat, we are always behind. Always. I'm very rarely up to date. But I like the AI art you've been doing, Harry. Some really interesting concepts there. This one was the one where you talked about, oh yeah, you were getting ready for you were upgrading the outside cat stuff. So that was good to see. I'm sure they loved it too. I think that was like 2 days ago, actually. 2 days ago. I think it said the 7th. Amanda says, that's what I'm worried about too, with all the slush and water, if it freezes overnight. Yeah. Susan says, I did not hear you here. I was probably reprimanding my herd of cats. Right? 10 inches of heavy wet snow, 29 degrees here, says Harry. Wow.
I hear some of our neighbors. I'm like, ooh.
Oh, someone's in trouble. Michelle says,
what do you do now?
Busy day, says Michelle. My mom had kidney surgery. It went well. I'm glad it went well. Went to a new pain doctor, and it went very well. Good. I know you were worried about that. Anne says, I opened the door so Daniel Tiger could see all of the snow. He enjoyed it. I offered him the opportunity to just step outside, but he was not that interested in it.
That's cute.
Susan says, when I carried mail, I appreciated people not shoveling. Well, that's good to know. Good to hear that from somebody who's out on this. Because I always feel bad for our mail person sometimes because I'm like, I know I didn't shovel, but I also know in this I would rather walk on the slush than slip around on the ice.
Well, also, if they get here early enough, then they're the first person to walk, and then it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad yet.
It's when people have walked a lot.
Yeah, and we don't get a lot of traffic in front of our house, but
no, but in front of the store.
Yeah. Let's see here. We rarely shovel, just wait for it to melt, says Norma. Sometimes I think Susan has snow plowed our sidewalk when it gets really snowy. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Amanda says, I fell down the front steps last week. Invisible ice. I'm still hurting. I don't recommend this sport. No. That's awful. I hope you're okay. Obviously you're okay, but I'm sorry you're still hurting. Anne says, I worry a lot about that in the winter. I'm not young anymore. I don't bounce. No, we don't bounce anymore.
You would think that I have way more extra cushioning than I ever did as a young person, and you would think that would like absorb the shock or something.
Just makes you fall harder now.
I know, it just hurts more. There's more to hurt.
Marion says, I've also played a little with AI. Nice. I haven't seen any of that yet. I don't know if you've shown it. I don't think I've seen it yet. It hasn't popped up. And I have not been able to, I've been online, but not for able to see anything. Suzanne says it's 44 here. Oops, everything jumped. Susan says, my snowblower is ready to go. Nice. Thankfully, we haven't needed it yet, right? It's been pretty mild. Cheryl says, same if we only get snow and not frozen ick. Yeah, frozen ick is not good. Marianne says, cushioning doesn't really help. No. Colidi says, jiggle but no bounce. Correct. So, yeah, we spent the day inside with the cats, making art, posting things. Andrew says, I'm an inside cat. Making art, posting things, coming up with new things to do, new ideas, planning, and obsessively checking the cameras of the cottage to see and make sure everything's okay. That's pretty much what the day was. Hello, Sandra. Thanks for joining us. Marianne says, haven't figured out how to get the picture to display instead of only a link. That makes sense. I don't know. I have not really played with AI art. I did play with the Chat GPT or whatever it's called for a little bit. That was pretty interesting. But I've not played with the art. Andrew has. He did it a long time ago, many months ago, when it started really kind of first, when people were really starting to, not even before they were really talking about it too much, he was playing around with it. And he seemed to enjoy it. Harry says, my daughter and wife use the snowblower and shovel. I'm not allowed to due to heart. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Marion says, someone else shovels around here, which they're doing now. Nice. Amanda shoveled today before it rained. Otherwise, it would have been a disaster. Yeah, got to get it before or not at all, right? So what else? What else has been going on today? Just a lot of stuff in the plans. I wrote a post today, if you didn't see it yet, showing some pictures of my other job. My boss over there finally kind of got around. He's been very busy. He was able to finally get around to writing a newsletter, letting his customers and his supporters know what happened over Christmas Day. If you don't know, my other job suffered a huge fire that completely burned the job site to the ground. The business has been in business since 1975. It was the business started actually in my boss's father, my previous boss's apartment, and then it moved to a barn on the property, which the barn is still on the property, but that is now owned by my boss's brother. And then the old chicken coop that my boss's grandfather had was turned into the very first warehouse that they had, and then they built on 4 other warehouses. So there were 5 warehouses full of parts. There were cars that belonged to the family and that belonged to the business. There were, I mean, just tons of records, and everything was destroyed in the fire. So I've been waiting for him to say something because I have some of our customers on my friends list. And I didn't want to be the one that was, releasing the news before him, before anybody had an idea of what was going on or what he was going to be able to do. So now that he wrote that letter, I kind of released some photos of what it looks like now, and some videos and photos of the fire, and kind of talked a little bit about it. It has affected us a lot. The income that I got from that job pretty much paid for our household bills, like our mortgage, our utilities here, our food budget, our cat food budget. That job took care of most of that. Our car. So without that job, we are pushing very hard to see what's going to happen and to try to make plans to make up that money. My boss is going to talk with me sometime, I think on Friday. We're going to get together and kind of go over maybe what's going to happen. I don't know if how many hours I'm going to still have, if he's going to have work for me soon or not. I don't know where things stand and what his plans are to get the place back up and running. It does seem like he's trying to get it back up and running. So I shared some of that. It does affect us greatly. And because of that, mostly because of that, our kind of safety net is gone. And that's what kind of generated the whole New Day campaign that we're doing right now. So the New Day campaign is the campaign where we are making things, lots of things, art and bead blends like we're going to show you today, and metal pendants that we've made, and lots of things to kind of fund the move to move Allegory Gallery into our building in Johnstown to help us save money on the rent here in Ligonier. And with that rent money, we can help move some of those funds over to kind of our household that we're going to need, since I lost that job, or have mostly lost that job for now. And so I shared on that post also about 9 or 10 different ways that you can help us in a variety of ways. One right now is that Facebook right now is offering us performance bonuses. So if you are watching us on Facebook or you are on Facebook at all, you can follow our business or like our business there. And the more views, likes, shares, comments we get in the next, well, I don't know what it is now. It's usually a 30-day rolling period or a 30-day period starting at the beginning of the month. We get money, actual money that Facebook deposits into our bank account just for your likes and shares and comments and views. So people have been really going at that hard, and we appreciate that. And all of you here definitely have been. I see all of your names, and you're all continuing to keep up with commenting and posting and sharing. We appreciate that. And what that does also, not only does it put money in our bank account, but it extends our reach by a lot. The more kind of energy that a business or a small business or any page on Facebook generates, the more Facebook shows it to more people. That's just the way it is. They want people to see things that are exciting. That's generally how it works, right? And they're going to ride the wave too. So that helps. The more traffic we get, the more engagement we get, the more it's going to go out to more people. So thank you all for that. Of course, you can make purchases with us. If you're able to do that, we appreciate that. And most of you here, I see names, are all people who purchase with us often. Hello, Susie, by the way. I see you tuning in. Teresa is joining us here. Vanessa is here as well. Let's see here. Yeah, so other ways you can help. We have a Patreon, everybody. I'm trying to find it here. patreon.com/Star Cottage Studio. And that Patreon is good to keep up with what we're going to be doing at Star Cottage Studio, because when we move the store to Johnstown, we're only going to be there on weekends to start and by appointment. And so the weekdays, Andrew and I are going to spend at Star Cottage Studio. That's our jewelry workshop and filming studio. And we're going to spend the days working on things. And if you want to see what we're working on and get behind the scenes photos and videos and all that, they are going to post to the Patreon. At least they'll post first. Generally, we only post a lot of completed things to our other social media. So this is going to be a way to see kind of behind the scenes and what's going on. And you can start for as low as $3 on the Patreon. I think it's $3, $8, and $12, something like that. 3 different levels to join. And that's a great way to support us. Let's see. Michelle says, OMG, we just got in an accident, but we are okay. The other driver hit us. I'm glad you're okay. That's very scary. I don't know if it's weather caused over there or just somebody not watching, but please stay safe out there, everybody. I know you can only be as safe as the other person sometimes, but we're glad you're all okay. Please do keep an eye out, and we understand if you're not here in the comments because you have to talk to the police and everything else that's going to be going on right now. But we're very glad you're okay.
Who was that?
What's that?
Who that
Michelle.
Wow.
Yeah. My husband is pissed off. I bet. I bet. They're no fun. As Marianne said, accidents still no fun. No. Even if nobody gets hurt, they're a big pain, right? Because you got to go through all that. Hopefully your car's not totaled. I hope everything is okay. And if it was the other guy's fault, then hopefully that'll all get covered, whatever has to happen. We hope. So we have our Patreon that you can join. We also, you can follow us on all of our social media, sign up for our email list, share that stuff, sign up for our text message list, share that with people. lots of different ways. Y'all know most of them. I'm going over them for people who may be new to us that are watching. But there's a lot of ways that you can help this small business survive and move on into the future. Because we've got a lot to do in the future. We're very excited. One of the big things is you can follow us and subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Allegory Gallery. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. And we're going to be doing a lot more there. Tutorials, demos, all that stuff. All right. So if you didn't see my personal post, you can check that out. Lots of different ways that you can help a small business. And it works for any small business. You know, most of all that stuff, you know, the sharing, the liking, the commenting, that helps for so many small businesses. So if you have any small businesses out there, be sure to share their information with your friends. Okay, so what else? What else is going on? Have you been beading in the new year? Who's beading in the new year? I know a lot of you out there are beading in the new year. Today, you were supposed to design with pearls. And I saw some people already posted their designs with pearls. That I did see. I shared a few of those.
You know, I make stuff for this, but I never post it.
I know you make almost every day, and you never actually post what you're making.
That's so wild.
Yeah. Cheryl says, Andrew's mixing sound has me intrigued. He's mixing a lot over there. Cindy says, hello, all liked and shared. Thank you so much.
I accidentally sprinkled in magnetic beads into one of the mixes, so I've been picking that business out.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
One bead at a time.
One bead at a time. All right. Ooh. So design with pearls, that's a pretty easy one, right? That's not too bad. Norma says, I'm behind in beading. There's no such thing as behind in bead in the new year. You're never behind.
It's still 2024.
It's still 2024, and nothing has to be done every day. You pick and choose the ones you like to do, the ones that make sense to you, the ones that maybe challenge you if you're looking for a challenge. Otherwise, try and do it every day. If you can do it every day, that's great. Some people are, and thank you.
Yeah, good job.
Good job.
Maybe we'll have participation trophies with you.
Participation trophies, that'd be fun. Then says, or Amy says, I cleared up my workspace and picked up a project I found that I haven't touched in over a year. That's good. Is that one of the things? Sometimes we have I don't think I did it this time.
The UFO project?
Yeah. The unfinished object projects. I don't think we have one of those this time. But tomorrow, you're supposed to create your own personal talisman. So what gives you energy? What gives you power? What gives you, a sense of control, a sense of yourself? Create it tomorrow and show us.
And you can also have a wide interpretation of what that means. Because I was in a show and it was all about talismans, and everything was so different. Everybody's interpretation.
Yeah, it's fun to see that. I really like that. I like that challenge a lot, the personal talisman one. Danette says, I got the second piece for the design challenge done tonight. Just waiting for pieces for the third piece. Nice. Good job. Good job. Are you making one set of 3 for the design competition? If you don't know what Danette is talking about, we have a design competition going on. You can get a lot of information about that. I'm not going to go over everything, but it's on our blog. If you want to sign up, I think you can win up to a $100 gift card from us and 5 different inspiration kits that we're going to send out to you. That's, I think, the grand prize. But there are lots of winners from $35 gift cards and kits to, I think, $50 gift cards, somewhere in there. It's all in the blog. And it's all for fun. There's no, we are judging it, but it's just for fun. It's not like a hardcore competition. All right. Just make your stuff, put it out there, and you might win something, right? It's going to be a participant's choice part of that, and also a judging by us with some curveballs thrown at you. I was going to make a curveball yesterday, and I ran out of time, and then I forgot it. Curveball. No, I'm not going to do it. I always make a post. But
curveball, the thing it'll be later.
Curveball, the curveball will be later. Yeah. So I was gonna make one yesterday, and then I started getting the everything ready, the graphic ready to put up, and then I got sidetracked, and then I totally didn't do it. So curveball's coming soon, y'all. Another curveball. So stay tuned if you're playing with that part of the competition. Donna's here. Hello, Donna. Susan's been trying to straighten and organize a workspace without much success. Yeah, I tried to clean up my little area here and here, and it keeps going back.
Way better.
It looks way better, but I feel like it keeps going back to, back.
Because we have to move stuff away from doors. Because
And
when
cats.
we do this thing, it's like a traffic jam. If you block the grid, then nothing flows.
Yeah.
And then you have empty storage containers that you don't use.
Nothing flows in this house right now as it is, other than cats flowing through in places they shouldn't. Cheryl says, the talisman is already cooking on my desk. I'm using old broken jewelry that my late mom had in her stash. It's time to wear it. Nice.
Yeah,
I like that.
Good one.
I like that. Let's see. Talismans could be so many things, says Marianne, right? Donna can't do any right now, so behind. Have to take one day at a time. Yeah, don't get overwhelmed. It's not meant for that. It's not why we give you these challenges. They're to work on, and you can work on this anytime. A lot of people keep it all year long. Like I said, throw a dart at it and get your next inspiration whenever you're ready.
Well, that's the nice thing about having it in the album is that if you do decide to go back and participate, you can always just find the album.
Yep.
And all the people can see it who you posted that album.
Yeah. That's why we use the album in the Design Challenges group on Facebook. Oh, let's see here. Danette printed the Bead in the New Year calendar. Haven't done any of the days on it, but I will. That's okay. Get to it when you can. You're working on the competition. Sometimes you can't do all of it, right? We could put out a lot more stuff, but we know not everyone's going to do it, and it starts to water it down, right? So the Bead of the New Year is something that is always requested from us. Everyone asks every year if we're going to do it again. So that we've been doing every year. And then the competition is just something we came up for fun because we haven't had a competition in a while, and we wanted to give away some gift cards. Pretty much it. So I think that's going to be nice for everybody.
I think it's nice. People get excited.
Yeah, get some excitement going and just have some fun with your friends, right?
Also, use this stuff. Like I hear every time we go to a show or in person, people are like, oh, I love your stuff. I got it, but then I never used it because I want to keep it for special.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
Yeah, don't keep it for special. I mean, you can keep it for special, but
special.
Right. Yeah.
Right after what happened with my dad, nowadays I'm gonna do whatever I want.
He's like, that's it.
Like when my dad was sick, not to bring this down, he was real kind of hesitant about doing anything enjoyable. I was like, if I was in your shoes, I'd do whatever I wanted. You
Right.
want to taste lobster with caviar and truffle butter from Angels?
You want to splurge? Splurge.
Go ahead.
Right.
Their big splurge was they got a refrigerator.
Yeah.
That they needed.
They did.
So they couldn't. The doors wouldn't close. So they had to like tie it shut every time.
Yeah.
So
No,
that was the splurge.
Yeah. If you get like that, enjoy yourself. Do whatever it takes and try and do that anyway, right? That's coming from me with the anxiety craziness that I have, but yeah, try and keep it in mind and in perspective, right?
I think we're trying to do better. Like we're trying not to stress out as much. Like I was just thinking about this, and like with William's health, there were some nights that I worried that he wouldn't wake up because there was so much going on in our lives between my dad and his other job and all that, and with his health, I was just worried that he would like get a, what is it, the stroke or the seizure or whatever,
Get a
aneurysm
stroke from the blood clot.
in his sleep, and that would be it. So I think we've been trying to be better about being less stressed.
Yeah.
And whether or not that's working, I think we've been able to cope with a lot.
Yes.
And
Like I said in a post, I think at one point, like any one thing that we've been through would be enough to be like somebody could just pause for a moment and be like, I need to, you know, work on this. And we've had a lot of those. Not to say y'all haven't. We know a lot of you have. But we're trying to keep a better mindset and, you know, just kind of trying to enjoy one another's company, trying to enjoy the possibilities of the future. And that's less easy for me. Andrew's generally better at looking to the future and being excited about it. I have a hard time with that, but I've been trying, and I think we've been doing pretty well.
Yeah, you've been doing good. Good job, William.
Thanks. You too.
I'm trying. I'm busted ass tired, but I'm trying.
Yeah. Amanda says, party like it's 1999.
Y2K.
Y2K. That was interesting, right? Khalidi says, adulting is hard. Yeah, not only adulting, but like, you know, dealing with things like.
Well, somebody implied on one of my posts that you could just get a new job and everything would be fine. Kind of basically be quiet and stop complaining.
Yeah.
And I don't think they realize the magnitude of like the fire or what it means to lose, you know, a big part of your childhood.
That's a huge, like, and a lot of people have been kind of, not a lot, some people have been like that, and they're like, well, you can get another job. It's not just the loss of the job, which has impacted us a lot, but it is an emotional, thing, that the job that, I know many of you know, but the job that I talked about that burned, that was something that my family has been in and helped build from almost from scratch.
40 years.
Yeah, my aunt was their, I think their second or third employee. And that was from like 1970, probably 75. It started in 75. Probably by 78 or so, she maybe started there, and she helped build that. She was the very first person to bring in a computer to that company and computerize anything. That company started making $1 million a year very early, and then it just doubled in business almost every year for years. They had up to 70 employees at one point. They threw a party for thousands of customers every summer. And I remember growing up at those parties. Some of the people who were vendors at those parties hired me for the weekend to help them. Like it was a bunch of friends, and so it's more than just finding another job. Like, yes, of course, I can go to Sheetz right now and probably get a job for $19 an hour. Like they have a nighttime supervisor position open for that.
But also, finding a job that accommodates everything that you do in this business is not easy.
No. So being able to have a job that I can also do the work I do here, but then also work remotely and work my nighttime hours and kind of they know me so well at that job. Like I have a lot of, you know, freedom to do things as I need to and when I need to.
You're not going to worry that you're not going to do it.
Right. I'm not hounded to do things. I'm not, you know, it's by them.
I
Andrew sometimes, but yeah, it's not
in a loving way.
It's not just finding a new job. Yes, I could put a resume out there, but you have to find the balance between a new job that pays enough to do what we need it to do, that also works with the schedule that we have in the store, or finding a job that pays so much that we close the store, close everything down, and that's all that I do.
Or be able to pay somebody.
Yeah, or be able to pay somebody to
And
have the store open.
I'll tell you now, it's not
He's
going
like,
to
it's not gonna be me.
I done did my 4 years.
Yeah.
That is too much. I remember at one point I was driving home one day and I was so overwhelmed with all of the stuff had to do, and I was so exhausted. Because if you didn't know this, for the first 4 years of our business, I did pretty much everything.
I did everything. I helped on weekends, which wasn't a lot of help, and I worked my other job entirely. That was a full time at that point.
Yeah, there wasn't remote back then.
No.
And so there was a point where I was running the store and doing the online store, and I had this group I was doing, and I was doing freelance for books and magazines.
The art shows and the publicity and the advertising.
And at one point, I just pulled over on the side of the road, and I bawled my eyes out because I was just so exhausted by everything. And
small business sounds like fun, right?
But there are things like people would complain that they didn't have enough tissue in their package, and they'd be like, "Well, did it break?" And then they'd be like, "No," and then I'd be like, "What's the problem then?"
Yeah,
like,
this is not a problem.
Did you just want extra? Like,
you
I
gonna
can
reuse
send
that?
it to you,
Right.
But why are you making it?
Yeah.
Like, if you ever write an email to us, if it starts with "I have a problem," that is like we're like triggering, how they say.
But it also, please, if it is a problem, make it be a real problem.
Yeah. But also, like, if there is a genuine problem, we will help you and take care of you, of course. But if it's like something.
But if everything made it to you just fine, you just thought it should be packed better, but it still made it and it was fine, then it was packed well enough.
Yeah.
Like,
but
it's
also,
that kind of thing.
You know, that's called trauma bonding.
Yes,
and
that's
we
an
can
actual
bond
thing.
over like Downton Abbey.
Let's bond over fun things.
Like let's bond over Gilded Age. How about that?
Right, Gilded Age. Let's bond over beads. Let's bond over making things. Let's bond over crafts. Let's bond over.
I like food. I like shiny rocks.
Let's not bond over trauma.
Like books.
Trauma and drama bonding. No good.
Yeah. So.
Khalid says a lot of processing, so many layers of the onion. One layer would be more than enough. It's true.
It is true.
Susan says, you are both so uplifting. I am blessed to have both of you as friends. I have been through a lot and you inspire me. Well, thank you. You inspire us too.
I know. You're a good person.
You are a very good person.
And you always stick up for the little guy.
Yeah, you do. We see you online and you stick up for.
Like, oh boy, they gonna do something.
She jumped right in there to stick up for the little guy.
Always.
Marianne says, so easy to say get another job, besides the fact that there are grief processes to go through for quite a few things. Yeah.
Also, William is different than me. If it's me, I am different. I'm already got job lined up. I've already been lining up extra jobs. I was like, how? Like, he lost a job, but I'm lining up the extra work for myself. But, you know, we're just built different. Like, William, it has a tender heart. I have a tough, calloused, run over, roadkill heart.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but he's tougher than me in some ways. And yeah, like it is one of those things. Like there's a process to go through, and it's a grief process. And you know, I'm not just going to throw everything to the wind and be like, okay, I'll take this job, whatever first pops up. Because that may ruin our whole life, trying to fit something like that in.
Well, you are much more thoughtful. Like, you like to consider things and think about things. I'm like, all right, we need money, do it. Who's going to dance on the TV?
Right. Khalid says, your job was a perfect fit. Hard to find a job that doesn't suck your soul. That's true, too.
But, you know, sometimes I also think that, now this is the devil head in me thinking, but sometimes I think it was like maybe this is too early, But sometimes I think it's a good thing. Like we would have never jumped if it weren't for the way things happened.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say it was a good thing, but I will say that I think it's bringing about good possibilities. We are finding the good possibilities in what has happened.
It's like with the pandemic. If the pandemic never happened, I would never have probably gone back to school for staff and taken classes.
And
And if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be showing, and I wouldn't be meeting people, and I wouldn't be going places, and I wouldn't be organizing museum shows and all.
And you're and that's not to say what you would have been doing wouldn't have been good too, but you're enjoying this, and that's good.
Yeah, I feel good in my soul.
Yeah,
like my soul purpose, y'all.
Denise says, y'all do a wonderful job packing items. I'm so happy you sent me a straw for my tumbler. Having a heck of a time drinking without it. That's good. Donna Reeves says, all the boxes and packing materials. That's good. Denise says, I'm sorry I bug you so much at times. It's okay. We're here. We will answer as we can. That's why I always tell people, you can write us as much as you want about whatever you want. But that does not mean we're going to be able to get back to you all the time right away.
No.
And we are only two people. We try as the owners to be very in touch with everybody that writes. We do not generally hand off our email address. Like no one handles our email inbox but us. At some point that will change, I hope. Not that I don't want to be in touch with y'all, but I hope we are doing things that we can have somebody handle the customer service aspect of things a little more so that we're more free to do the things that you all like to see us do.
Well, it's all a part of growing.
Right? Yeah. We want to grow. We want to grow, y'all. And having someone handle those customer service issues is wonderful.
You know,
right?
People are already offering. They're like, if you need help.
I know.
And I was like, I need to win the lotto first.
Yeah.
But as soon as
if you want to offer free help, that's different. But we cannot pay you yet. That's not where we are. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Amanda says, Allegory Gallery goes over and above. Thank you. Khalid says, Phoenix rising from the fire. We're going to try. We're going to do our best.
That's why I was painting so many phoenixes.
Right.
It's like I don't want to say I manifested it, but here you go.
There's Terry. Hello, Terry. Says it was a catalyst for a needed change. It was. I think it was a needed change. I think it was something that, we needed to do.
I know we were sitting on the decision about what to do about Johnstown
for a long time,
for months, and that made me crazy because for me, I like to make a plan and then just do it. But I felt like I was just like kind of hanging out in limbo. Yeah,
because he was ready to. I was not ready. I wasn't sure that was the right thing to do. And so when you're kind of one person is like, okay, we can do it, and the other person's like, I don't know. It's one of those things, but
it's like you have to pull the other person.
Yeah, and so we were kind of pulling each other back and forth for a while, and then all this happened. Things started happening, and just one day I was driving in the car, and it was like, Johnstown's the place to be. And I didn't know why it came to me. I wasn't sure what was going on. And this was before the other business burned down. And then we talked about it, and we were kind of going back and forth and how we would make it work and how many days and what we would do there. And then once that happened over Christmas Day, that was it. We were like, okay, we got to do this. We got to make a change, or we're just going to keep going down.
Give these away.
What are they? We're giving away. Okay, we'll give those away. What are those?
Little knotted bracelets.
Knotted bracelets. Okay. See if anybody wants those. Let's see here. People saying I bugged them too. It's okay. Vanessa says I bugged them too.
Who bugged?
Vanessa, she's like, I bugged them too. I was confused about an invoice I received, but it was resolved quickly. It was my bad. It's okay. We're always, and
that's different.
That's
if it's a genuine concern, then that's not.
Yeah.
You didn't put one extra piece of tissue.
Yeah. No, when you have an actual concern, we want you to message us. And if it is our fault, we will make it
We're
right.
happy to make something right.
Yeah. And if it's not, we will tell you we don't think it is. That was just the case with Vanessa. And sometimes I don't ever want to come across as like, oh, this is your fault. Like, I don't want to be like that. And I don't ever hope that I come across like that. But sometimes I answer emails quickly. So never think that I'm just dismissing you or being like, like, no, I try and write a lot so that it doesn't come out like that. It's like my anxious brain. And I follow people with ADHD and I've not been tested yet. I don't know if I have it, but how you write so much just to make it like a cushion for people so they don't think, and that's what I do. So if I'm ever like super long-winded and you're like, why is he running this idea?
Dude, you're not long-winded compared to me.
It's like, why is he running this point into the ground? Like, I get it. Sometimes my emails are short and sometimes they probably are too long.
Mine is like Bible length.
Andrew does do that.
Remember the one time that we knew each other and back in Tucson at that one place in the hotel, and you were wearing a lime green shirt with black stripes.
He gets crazy. We're not going to listen to this whole email here today, but he does do that. I don't do it that much, but sometimes I make a point like 3 times. I'm not trying to be like, haha, you were wrong or anything like that. I just I try to do it so much that it's not that you don't feel like that actually. It's like purposeful. I'm like, how would I write this for myself so that I didn't think that if this were me on the other end that, so anyway, because I was thinking of that about your email, Vanessa, when I wrote back, I was like, well, I hope this doesn't sound like terrible or something. Anyway. Let's see here. Donna says, and that's what matters. You're doing what you love and you're passionate about why you do. About why you do, and that's the way it should be. Yeah. Right? Dennis says, you do a wonderful job of responding. I appreciate all of your help. You are great. You are great and genuine. Thank you. Susan says, I took my long-term job because it had gold star benefits. I learned from it and made friends with people I'm still friends with, but capitalistic enterprises are soul-sucking.
Who said that?
Susan, surreal.
Oh.
I always had to wonder about people who made their corporate jobs the most important thing in there. Yeah, it's hard, right? I mean, some people that work. Some people, they just love that kind of work. And that's okay. That's all right. I like to have a little bit of other things in my life other than just that kind of work. But some people are happy with that, and good for them, I guess. Vanessa says, I think when we can't make the decision, life sometimes pushes us and makes the changes for us.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
My grandpa used to say, shit or get off the shitter.
Yep.
And
you got to do it. Don't hang around there. You have problems when you hang around there too long. People are replying to each other. Thank you. It's good when you all chat with each other. Susan says those jobs aren't worth it. Several of the people I worked with have passed on and they were younger than me. Yeah, sometimes you get really caught up in it, right? It's not worth that. Vanessa says, not at all. It was short, turned on the light bulb. Good. That's what I always worry about. I'm not, like I said, I could answer most emails within like 2 sentences. But then I would feel like, is that coming across as too cold? Like, I don't respect that they're writing to us and have a question about something. Because I want to respect because we respect that you have questions, right? And you took the time to ask those questions. So just sending back a cold response is so hard for me. It would get the same point across, but it's just so hard.
I would like to think that our customers are more than just a place where we get money from.
Oh yeah.
And so if we ever have an issue, it's like I think it's good to have boundaries too, because there's been some times when lines have gotten crossed And sometimes I've had to say, I don't appreciate when certain people say certain things or do certain things a certain way. And usually, maybe 90% of the time, it all works out. But I think where it doesn't work out is when we don't respect each other.
Yeah.
So I think as long as we know that it's coming from a place of mutual,
Yeah, you're allowed to have questions on your orders.
Sure.
And
I do not always have questions on my orders, but I frequently have questions about orders.
Yeah, and we don't want you to ever feel like you can't ask them, because that means if that happens, then that means you go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that starts to deteriorate our friendship and our relationship. And we don't want that. But we also, like, I never want you feeling like that we're just replying and like shooting off a reply. And, it's just so weird. So weird the way I think sometimes, I think. Vanessa says, I used to be like that. My career was everything. As I get older, I don't let it be anymore. Love my work, but love my free time too. Amanda says, did you ever do the what color is your parachute test, where it asks you which order you would discard aspects of your life if it were your hot air balloon was crashing? There was a meditation session on one of my apps that I use that talks about letting certain things go from your hot air balloon.
That sounds like a nightmare meditation.
Well, that meditation was like, it was like, what would you let go to allow yourself to, to float, to fly, to,
Not you're crashing to your death.
No, not you're crashing to your death. What do you got to get rid of before you die? No, this was like, what kind of things would you let go of?
Is speeding quickly towards your face.
No.
The cool rush of air is blowing back your senses.
It was not that. This was like,
anxiety
you are stuck on the ground.
Every nerve.
You were stuck on the ground. How can you let go of things to fly?
Hot air.
Amanda says, my last thing was holidays. I discarded food and water before the holidays. That's interesting, right? That says a lot. You like your holidays, friends, family to be around.
Oh, I was like, what? I don't you know what? I think I've abandoned holidays.
We kind of have a little bit.
And I don't feel bad about that. I used to feel really pressured about holidays, and I had so much anxiety about being the best host and making sure everybody had anything.
Yeah, anytime we threw a party, Andrew was like host to the most.
And then like cooking 3 days before and financially bankrupting myself sometimes, and
just to throw a good party.
Yeah, but
I mean, there's more to it than that. But
it would stress me out so much that I just didn't enjoy it, and I kind of am gotten away from any kind of situation where I feel that kind of pressure. So,
Donna says, you guys are family. Thank you. You are family too. Susan says, Donna, we're the AG Bead fam. That's right. And that's why we use that. Like AG, that's why we have continued to use that, because it is a family. This is not just,
it's the logical family.
Yeah. It's people who have come together, who care about each other, who aren't blood related, right? But we've decided that we are family, and that's kind of what it is. That's
kinship and camaraderie,
right? Oh, man, this is not specifically holidays. I mean vacation, days off from work. Oh, that kind of holiday. Yeah, days off from work.
You're not allowed to have.
What is that? What is that? Not yet, right?
Soon.
Let's see. My family gets together for holidays because we are all off, but don't do gifts or really big meals. It makes hanging out more enjoyable and relaxing. Yeah, that's what I like. Don't worry about the gifts. Don't worry about the meals. We in my family get gifts for the kids. Like if you're a kid, you get gifts. generally.
I
But
like gifts.
we don't generally do a lot of, the adults don't generally trade gifts or do anything like that.
You know, we didn't actually have gift giving for our wedding.
No, we did not. I mean, some people gave us gifts, but
I guess that's true. But we didn't have like a money dance.
we didn't have the money dance. We didn't have the present table or the cookie table. That's what a pandemic wedding will get you, right? Collegiate doesn't participate in readout holidays. I'd rather make up my own and enjoy every day. That's good.
Same.
Yep. Cindy says, I love the AG Bead fam. Thank you.
Yeah, we're here because of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
If it weren't for y'all, this would be no more.
No.
I can guarantee you, if it was based off of store sales, this would not be here.
No, William would definitely have another job by now. Anne says, I give myself gifts all year long.
Me too.
That's kind of what we do. We get ourselves things when we need them and when we, sometimes when we want them. And we don't need to put the pressure on other people to do it during the holidays.
I know. Unless
Although,
you get a deal.
If anyone wants to get me the Apple Vision Pro for my birthday, I'll take that gift. That's all right. You can get me that.
Yeah, let's just say you're not getting that.
It's only $3,500 plus tax.
If you get that much, there's going to be a new kind of conflict.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's look at what we're going to look at today. What are we looking at today? I know we've had like 30 some people watching. It dropped down to 14 at one point. Now we're back up to 25. People are just like, when are you ever going to get to the point? Well, that's who we are. So
land the plane.
Land that plane. We land the plane whenever we damn well feel like it, right? Everybody, we chat until we
cuss now. I cuss.
I know, right?
I'm rubbing off on him the wrong way.
I know. But no, we like chatting with y'all. So it is what that is, right? All right, let's flip this camera around. Andrew has some giveaways apparently here.
I don't know if it'll actually fit anybody but a child. But
how are you going to give these away?
Well, let's see if people actually want them first.
Okay, let's see. Let me flip the camera here. We're not high tech today. Some days we're higher tech than other days.
Are you on the Instagram?
Yeah. We got a lot of people over there floating in, maybe floating back out. We don't know who's watching over there. Not many people saying anything at all. Feel free to say hi on Instagram. I can't see your comments on my little screen, but I got it up so we can see if you say anything over there. So yeah, here's the Bead in the New Year calendar with tomorrow's Create Your Own Personal Talisman. Then we're going to work with contrasting colors on Thursday. See what you can do with check glass on Friday. You know we all love check glass here. And then watch a video demo and make something new. I was hoping we'd have a new video demo for you with Jen for this Saturday. But no, she was going to do it today, but today was not the weather day to do it. And then she's busy all the rest of this week. So you'll have to watch one of her old video tutorials or someone else. You don't have to do one of ours. We hope you do, though.
Yeah, do one of ours. What the heck?
Cheryl says, let's see, Andrew. Okay, here are the giveaways. These are just little beaded, well, not beaded. They're knotted bracelets. That's not going to fit me. We have a red one and a blue one.
The red one's a little bit bigger.
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger. If anybody wants these, let us know. How about we just, if you want it, and say in the comments the color you want, red or blue, and we'll get them to you.
First come, first serve.
First come, first serve from what we ever see on our side of things, how it filters in for us. I'm watching everybody. Red, blue, say it. Norma says micro macrame. That's pretty much what it looks like, right? Norma wants the red one. Okay, Norma, you got the red one. Anybody want the blue one?
You know a child in your life?
Child that might want this. Amanda says, I have pearl earrings started, but the pearls are huge, and I wonder if it'll be too heavy. Somebody will like it.
Girl with a pearl earring.
Right? Donna said red. Norma already got the red one. Norma already got the red one. How big are they, says Marianne. Marianne, you're going to make me undo this? Let's see. I don't know if I have a ruler. Do I have a ruler
No.
here?
There's no ruler here.
Oh, wait, I do have one. There they are. So that is 6.5 inches.
That's not as small
About.
as I thought.
I mean, that's including the button and the clasp, which, so maybe give it 6 inches or so. About 6 inches of the blue one.
Small as I thought it was.
No, it's not going to fit me.
But still,
But-
probably for child.
Yeah, that's still, or somebody has a really small wrist.
You know Patty Griffin, the musician?
Yeah.
She has to wear a wrist brace when she plays because she plays so hard
Oh, you told me
that she break her own
Wrist.
by playing the guitar.
that. That's something. Okay, well, nobody wants the blue yet. So the blue's still up for grabs. I'm not going to wait here for somebody to say blue.
What?
Anyone on here that wants to say blue at some point? Oh, there's Cindy. Cindy got the blue one. So
Write it out.
I'm going to write that down so I don't forget.
Here, there's
Cindy.
one other giveaway.
It's blue. Norma was the red. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I have those random sample things.
Anybody want this?
Check glass.
Okay. Anybody just say check glass, first person. First person we see saying check glass gets this little mix.
A lot of bead caps.
Mostly bead caps with some leaves.
Fluted.
First person to say it, Danette. Danette got the check glass.
Do you like that? Or you feel pressured?
Okay. Danette got the check glass. All good. Now, what are we looking at? Art. Probably shouldn't have turned the camera around. Let's look at the mixes
You
first.
can do the small ones.
Yeah, maybe the small ones. See my mess? Okay.
His mess.
So Andrew did some art today.
Well, for weeks.
For months. He's been doing art. And this is one of them. We posted these on our Facebook and our Instagram accounts. So you can see them there, but we figured, it's always good to see them live. And this is as good as we can make it without y'all coming to Ligonier and visiting us. So tell them about these, Andrew.
I made them. So these ones, these are the painted paper. I do a bunch of different ways of making the painted paper. Sometimes I do a thing with a gel press to make monoprints. Sometimes I just freehand and paint by hand. Sometimes I do what's called a traditional monoprint where you paint on a piece of plexiglass and then you lay your paper and then you bray over it. And then there's some different techniques that I use. And then with these, they're on canvas. The canvas is, I like to work on board, but sometimes it gets expensive. So these are on canvas and they're collage on canvas. And yeah, they're the, I don't know.
So this is
You
called
have
Lighter Than
questions?
Air. Lighter Than Air is the name of this one.
I already did the talk in the description. What do y'all want to know? Is there anything? One of the common things I get a question for is why there are crows and ravens in my work. And I think of them as messengers. And so usually they bring tidings of change. And whether or not that's good or bad, it's kind of like it is what it is. So I've always loved them, and they're incredibly intelligent, and there's a lot of really cool stories about them and mythology around the world. Sometimes they're thought of as good, sometimes as bad, and I kind of get that. I like those things that are kind of ambiguous in the sense that, you know, who is a hero, who is a villain. You know, we all have our kind of things.
Amanda says seeing three crows together is very special. A lot of people are talking about Lord of the Rings because I think Amanda brought it up that they're rewatching Lord of the Rings movies. Danette asks, how do you come up with the names for your art pieces? A lot of these have to do with looking forward to the future, I've noticed.
Oh, that sounds good.
Norma says, I love all four of these new pieces.
Thanks.
Donna says, I love Crows and Ravens.
There's a big series of these I've been working on.
Danette says, crows are very intelligent. They are the best watchdogs.
Yeah, I want to be like that. Did you all see that story about the little girl that befriended the crows, and then the crows bring her presents? And then there was a story about like somebody was trying to take the baby, and then the crow like fought away. I could be mixing this up, but where the crow protected the child.
Cindy asks, what was your inspiration for this one?
For this one in particular, I don't know. I think like I work in a grouping of like a series, so I'll have different concepts that I'm kind of working through, and there's ideas of renewal and hope. And when you start making work for a long time, things start developing different motifs and symbols. So the collage comes from taking things of two disparate parts and putting them together and coalescing them in a whole. So finding things that have not a lot of value and making them value and finding harmony and things that are broken. The things that we heal, there's a lot of things about that and I understand. I went to school at the School of Visual Arts in New York City, and I was very fortunate to work with a lot of very talented artists. And one of my professors was named Victoria Kahn, who you may know from Pinkalicious. She wrote a bunch of children's books and did musical and all kinds of stuff. But
yeah, she's fun.
She's my collage teacher.
I met her at the bookstore.
I bet.
I didn't know that she was your teacher at that time. She was wild, though.
Was she?
She was. I think she was all dressed up as the character when she came in.
That's the early days.
Yeah.
She was gonna toot her own horn.
Yeah, but she was fun. So this is Lighter Than Air. It's $260, available in the online store. I don't know if these are going to make it into the physical store. Are these going up on the wall? Or are you working on something else for the wall?
No, for the wall, because
This will be the last show.
So originally we were just going to leave the last show be this spooky creepy, but I kind of wanted to leave off on a different note.
Yeah.
Unless these sell, then I also have shows coming up in the end of this month and in February. So if it doesn't sell here, then they'll go to those gallery shows.
There you go. So there they are. That's one.
Which I should probably start promoting it. There's a show called at this gallery in Jeanette called You Are Here Gallery. And then there's one called Manos Gallery.
This is the next one, Follow the Sun.
And there's a lot of my work is strongly influenced by fairy tales and folklore and superstitions, and so there's a lot of magical realism and symbolism and narrative aspects to my work. But also I try to keep them more than anything to deal with like the overall composition, where it's could be abstract shapes but still work.
Kalidi says a group of crows is called a murder, a group of ravens is called a conspiracy.
Interesting.
Yeah, I knew the murder. I don't know if I knew the conspiracy.
I love the owls. It's a congress.
A congress of owls.
I feel as though that's a short story just waiting to happen. And so another thing that I'm kind of subtly inspired by is my grandma and my mom were both really into quilting, and I wanted to learn how to quilt, but I wasn't allowed to quilt because I was a boy. So I was forbidden to go to the sewing circle. And my grandma, she, I want to say was her favorite. But anyway, so she snuck me in, and one of my earliest memories is laying on my back and looking up and seeing these hands doing stitching. They're doing the top part. I don't know what that's called.
I don't know. I don't know.
Or maybe they were. Anyways, there was light coming through it, and it looked almost like a stained glass window. And because there was a patchwork quilt, and everybody kind of came from the community would bring fabric and make quilts, and I thought that was such a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Uh-oh, Susan said we had a mad dash to see where Smokey went. A bit heart-stopping, but he was under my husband's chair the entire time. That sounds like...
Ooh, yeah, wow.
So this one is Follow the Sun, available. These are 10 by 10, and this one is also 260, available in the online store.
Yeah, so a lot of my pieces are kind of loosely inspired by textiles. So there's a lot of very textural elements. In these ones, there's actual sewing. Sometimes you can't even see it, but if you look at the surface of these collages, they're very textural. And that's because there's layers and layers of collage. There's collages that I made 20 years ago in art school, and I use those to, I can actually show you. I gotta talk to show you.
So this one, while he's getting that, this is A Soft Place to Land. This is available for $230 in the online store currently. I love this one. This one's been getting a lot of attention online, I think because of all the colors. Susan says, I don't know how you two deal with 5 felines, right? They make us crazy sometimes. And this is, I love the oranges and greens in that one, right? Marianne says, I think this one with the single corvid is my favorite. This one has been getting a lot of attention. This one more so, I think, than the others, but it's also one of the first ones we put out today, other than the big one, which is coming up. But this is a more, I think, energetic color pattern than the other ones have been. So which one's your favorite painting so far? Do you have a favorite? Let us know in the comments. I gotta jump back over to Instagram. Okay, just checking, making sure I'm not missing anything over there. Donna says, I absolutely love the textures and combination of colors in all of these. Thank you. Anne says, these are really beautiful. I loved Lighter Than Air, but each one is so wonderful on its own. Oh boy. What are you pulling out? Where'd you dig that out of?
The attic.
Oh boy.
You're gonna have to flip that because none of this gonna fit.
There are little ones there, aren't there?
There's a little one. Well, all right.
You want me to flip it? I can flip it, but
so these are not. These are not well. I did not put these away very well. But anyways, so I had to do a lot of paintings for undergrad, and they were really crappy. And so I was like, what in the world am I going to do with all of these paintings? These canvases. And then, so I cut them up and I stitched them together.
Those are pretty cool.
But they're, these are the small ones. And
Vanessa says, I love that. It's a crazy quilt painting.
Pretty much. Y'all think I'm joking that I used to make this stuff. But so yeah, this one's a little bit. I like this one a little bit more, but
a yellow phase.
And so
Susan says you're really crappy is amazing to me.
Thanks, but I think I'm a better painter than I was back then. So anyway, so I made a bunch of these, and so so these are the paintings that I did, and I also used to do a lot of sketching and drawing and collages. So then what I did, and these are actually, this is not, okay, this is another life lesson. So this is good for right now, but this is not for the light because it's painted with spices. And this is actually a ginkgo leaf.
Oh yeah, right there's a.
So anyways, my more experimental, I've always experimented with stuff.
Spicy time.
Yeah, I guess. It looks more spicy in the other way. So anyway, so I used to take that paper and do the same thing and make collages out of those papers. And then the papers I would sew up. And
Cheryl says, I wish I was crappy.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Like you can see, like I have a distinctive color sense. Even back then, I made these very bright colors. And I hide symbols, and there's eyes and stuff, and there's probably a giant nipple.
Donna says, OMG, that's so cool.
So this is like college time. But I made these, some of the paintings like this were as big as this wall.
Which you can't see.
So how big is that?
The whole wall?
Yeah, from ceiling to floor, and then from that wall to that wall.
Probably 8 feet by
12 feet.
Probably bigger. Yeah, but at least 8 by 12 feet.
So I used to do paintings that were ginormous. And then I also, probably at this point, I lived in the doll factory which so there's also other layers to this where the idea of doing something like sewing, where it was a very kind of, okay, so let's pause for a moment and rewind. So back when I went to art school, if somebody said your stuff looked crafty, it was like a bad word.
Yeah.
And nowadays, anything kind of goes, and there's people sewing and beading and doing all kinds of stuff. But back then,
They wanted the fine art.
yeah, it was not, and a lot of it was like it was like conceptual or hard geometry and stuff, and so a lot of my stuff then was very hard geometry, because a lot of my teachers were hard geometry painters. But anyways, so what was I saying?
You're talking about sewing, backing up.
And so there was also this idea of work. And so I knew I wasn't as good of a painter as some of the other people that were in the program, but I at least had a really good work ethic. So I felt like if I sewed and I pieced things together and I made work that was labor intensive and was relatively challenging to do, sewing canvas is not necessarily easy, then I felt like I was doing good.
Amanda asked, did you cut the canvases off of the wooden frame?
So here's a side story. One of the many jobs I had in college was, one of the side jobs I had was I used to stretch canvases to make money. So these, when they're shown, some of them are done with grommets, but some of them you could stretch them and they would go back on a canvas, like the stretcher bars.
Amanda also asks, are these the backgrounds of your new releases?
The canvas ones are not, but the paper versions are, which I can show you that in a minute.
And Cheryl says, I could see that as a pattern, as a jacket.
Yeah, so y'all gonna see a new side, because y'all didn't know that I had dabbled in the fashion design, did you?
Vanessa says, I love the green. Wow, you don't hang those?
No. These are in the attic.
Yeah, I barely ever get to see these.
I don't think you even knew.
I've seen them because we've carried them from apartment to house, but I've never actually.
This one's actually good.
I've barely ever seen them unfurled.
This one's self-portrait.
Here, let me see if I can. There's our messy room.
Tell me when it's put back down.
Okay, so that is his self-portrait. All right. There it's down.
So that's when I started incorporating imagery on top of old imagery. But for me, I like the idea of everything having a story and kind of like a hidden story, allegory. But so all of these things, they were all paintings that I did before, and they all had stories. They all had meanings to them. They all had a purpose. And I don't think I ever showed this one. That's all right. I forgot I made that.
Amanda says, this painting here, the Soft Place to Land, reminds me of a forest that comes to life at night. Amanda says, I get David Bowie vibes.
I used to have hair, by the way.
Marian says, this one to her is a garden reaching for the sun, following one of Odin's ravens.
So let me see. We'll do a mini tour. All right. So I did an art residency at my college, and so that one was one of the ones. And so there was an artist there named Monica Cook, and she was a wonderful, wonderful person. And I wondered where some of these things went.
Donna says, I think these are beautiful. Susan says, I like this. Amanda says, amazing. Michelle made it home.
So this
That's
is
good.
my ancestor that died from a peach piss.
Oh, I've never seen that one.
So that's a photograph. That's not. Anyway. Yeah, I wondered where that went.
I've never seen the picture of that person.
So anyway, so here are so there was an artist named Monica Cook, and is this the same? This is different. So and she did a painting of herself in Savannah, where she painted herself as a geisha, and it was like the time when Memoirs of a Geisha came out, so it was like super popular at the time, and everybody was on fire for it. So, and I loved the fabrics, and I loved that book, and and there was weird things about that book. I know it was problematic, whatever. A lot of stuff was back then. But anyway, so she gave me this picture of a geisha, and then I love that picture so much that I started making artwork that was kind of like inspired by it. And so I did those where I did weavings of the paper, and then those turned into, let me see. Apple. So then I made clothes. You can't see any of that. Kind of. You can kind of see that. This is terrible. Anyway, so I made clothes, and I did a photo shoot, and then I took the images, and then I wove them and sewed on them, and I made, hey, these hold up pretty good for being in a non-climate controlled area.
Yeah.
So I took different images of textiles, and I wove them. Boy, this is not that great. I mean, it's good to see it, but I can see where some of these are, you know, I don't know, a starting point. And then I started getting interested in these ideas. Let's see. All right, so you'll start seeing the evolution of how these kind of evolved, where boy, I thought I was so artsy. And so there's, so you'll see things repeating. So once I did the weavings, then I got into stripes. And then this is when I started taking apart old artwork, and I think the backs are actually more interesting than the fronts. Oh, maybe don't show those. Don't show those. Show just the fronts.
You're gonna say they're more interesting than we're not allowed to see them.
They have bad words on them. So anyway, so I started doing these things where it was more kind of like I did the stitching, and then I went and used the stitching as kind of like a drawing element, and then I started kind of refining the process a little bit, and I also don't have a lot, like these are all kind of like the leftovers, because I used to sell my work a lot, and so these are kind of like what's left behind in a way. I didn't really start collecting my own work. That's going to be a mess to show that. But anyway, so then I started doing pieces like this. That's upside down, but that's fine.
Supposed to be this way?
And that was from a series called Sensual Immortals. And so I did drawings of different artworks, and then did drawings of those artworks, and then photocopied them, and then did weaving. And you can see it's getting a little bit more refined. And then I started playing around with different words because I really like words. And so I would do collages of words. You can tell when this exactly was because this is from the Village Voice. And when Alanis Morissette came to town. That's not artwork, though, by the way. But so I started doing these pieces where I would take the letters and then I would do collages of the words and the letters, and then I would make paintings, and they're kind of like sigils. And so those turned into these pieces. And so this was all around 2004.
That paper, I think, said 2005.
Yeah, some of these, like this one says 2004.
Yep.
But anyway, so that's kind of the flavor of those. And so, where was I on this? Oh, so you'll notice like there's stripes, and then so I took apart some of my collages, and so when I would make these pieces, I would make stacks of artwork. And so I did stacks and stacks of artwork, and when I make artwork, it was
oh, he's going away again. So what do y'all think of that so far? The art journey of Andrew Thornton. Vanessa said, I love the blue one a few ones back too. Thank you. I love when people talk about it as we go through this. Talking about this blue one. And he went to go get something. I don't know what part of the house. I'm trying to listen to see what part of the house he's going to. he's bringing new stacks or if he's bringing old stacks. Sounds like, I don't know. You never know.
Feels nice out there.
Uh-huh. Anne says, thank you for showing that history is so interesting and beautiful. Vanessa, I love the blue ones a few back. Suzanne says, fascinating. Susan says, I love those. Marion says, interesting to see so much of Andrew's earlier work. Yeah, y'all, these don't come out of the attic very often. That's for sure. Michelle said, that's collaging in a different way. I really like it.
Some of these are good, some of them not good.
Vanessa says, why don't you display them? They're so wonderful.
Because we don't have a big house.
Donna says, love everything. Anna says, there was a cool one with green and peach fuzz. Okay, what do you got there?
All right, so those. Oof. So if you want to see things, okay, I'll just show the whole thing. And then, so I did a lot of self-portraits. Surprise, surprise. Some more successfully than others. But like when I say I make stacks, here's a stack. So, and what I kind of did was I'd make a bunch and then I'd pick my favorite. And so I also started taking a printing, I took a printing workshop. So I worked with Gunnar Pranti. What's the name? Gunnar Prant. Oh my goodness. His name was Gunnar. Okay, so I never called him by his last name. But so I did like these ones are lithography. So it's kind of like the Tybo printing press. And then I had these weird kind of encaustic paintings that I did on paper. And then I sewed those up and cut those apart. And the colors were so yuck. They're so like, I don't know. I tend to go for brighter colors, and so some of my professors did not like that I did bright colors because it looked kind of like what they said, kind of painting from the tube. And so I went through this phase of making these kind of ugly color paintings. And so I took them apart and I used this and would stitch and cut them apart and reconfigure them. And so even then, I was reconfiguring things. And these will probably be backgrounds for other paintings at some point, or collages. So all of those histories will be included in some way. I don't even remember. Like, I'm used to make so much work that I don't even remember some of the things. Like, there was, like, these are all from distinctive bodies of work. I don't remember any of it. Like, I remember I was really into arabesques. I still do that in my work.
Susan says, I love all the layers and the process behind them.
Thanks.
Vanessa's finding ones that she loves. Anne says, I have 2 of your paintings that are made on older works. I love that they have a hidden history.
Oh, thanks. Are those a wild border? I think she got the wild border pieces. Let me see what I'm painting. All right. Let me go back in that. All right. So the red, the bright red, as long as we're talking about generational trauma. So when I used to miss spelling words, I don't know if you can see it. It's on this one. when I used to misspelling words, my dad used to force me to write the same word over and over and over and over.
I was wondering what those were, because there was the word not before, KNOT, written over and over and over.
And so there, I still write a lot every day. I pretty much write. But so anyway, so there's a lot of those. It was basically to the point where those words didn't have a meaning anymore. They just became a pattern at that point. But a lot of those, like the self-portraits and stuff, they're gonna go away.
Go away.
All of these.
Donna says, love, love, love the layers, textures, and colors you used in these. Anne says, I have some of those, but these were other ones. One is a house and one is a hand.
Oh yeah. So I did a whole series. I worked with an artist named Peter Hirschstock, and he did the 100 Marathon Challenge, where you would make 100 pieces of artwork in less than 24 hours. But this is a version.
Oh, another stack.
And then I have stacks and stacks. And so anyway, so this is a version of the kind of sigil paintings. I don't have a lot of those left over. But
Amanda says these are so cool. The other ones, and Vanessa's, I want all of them.
All right, I'll make a good price. So these ones, also you can kind of tell that like the splatter painting was like really popular then, and so a lot of mine are kind of like drippy but anyway, so this is kind of a version of a version of a version of paintings I used to do. And you can see that like my color sensibilities are starting to develop a little bit better. And this technique is taking crayons and doing the sigil work and then painting on top of it. And in some places there's a resist effect that happens. So whenever you have that kind of crayon or whatever, the paint pulls away from the wax. But then if you're persistent enough, you can eventually coax layers on top of it. So these ones were not stored properly. So there's a lot of like bucking and bowing. But the one Anne has was made from a version of that was then collaged. So a lot of my work, it goes in kind of a circular pattern where I take old work and I grow. I kind of think of it almost like people, where there are lots of hidden histories of people and artwork and things like that. And the other thing about these pieces is that a lot of them are pieces that I wouldn't say are great. So the fact that they exist, I don't know, I cannibalize a lot of those things. And I think I had a show at one point called The Cannibal Heart, and it was all about like repurposing old artwork and old journals that I cut up and rewrote by painstakingly pasting all the words in different orders. And so yeah. And yeah, so I used to be very prolific.
You still are very prolific.
But I mean, when So I had these terrible neighbors who were next door, and it's probably a good thing that they were terrible, because I did not like them at all. And so I got an iPod, the U2 one,
Uh-huh.
and we still have it somewhere floating around here. And I would plug that in, and I would work for hours and hours and hours, and I would not get distracted. And yeah, so you can kind of see some of the colors and the like form language is still there. And so I've always kind of played around with kind of narrative elements meeting abstract ones and creating patterns. So yeah. So those are a blast from the past. I mean, there's more. There's lots. There's stacks and stacks somewhere. I don't know why I buy. I should just like paint on top of all of these. I mean, but they're on paper, so it's not like
Yeah.
they're not that fancy. Oh, here's more. So eventually I'm gonna get overwhelmed and then stop looking. But so these are from photographs that I used to take and prints I used to take. And I used to save little pieces of fabric. And I would take pictures of that fabric and then make collages from that. And then make things out of them. I'm glad they're not completely disintegrated. But so there's stuff from some of my printmaking, because I ended up with all these stacks of prints, and I was like, what am I going to do with all these stacks of prints? And then there's different memories kind of woven in, so there's little photographs. And then I was also really inspired by maps. So so you'll see this kind of map-like form repeated, where they're kind of like this kind of like squiggly lines. I don't know how to describe that, but I think sometimes though the pattern would get so chopped up, and that it kind of lost. I don't know. I think that sometimes it would get so. It's almost like looking at wallpaper samples at some point. So, I mean, there's always this idea of like, I have this idea of push and pull. There's this artist named Hans Hofmann who kind of was famous for that. And so he would talk about like the eye being drawn in and being also pushed out and stuff. And so in this way, I kind of have this idea that I have these like bigger glyphs, and then people, if they wanted to, they could look closer and they could see kind of little elements and then create stories from those elements.
Cindy says, love the photograph pieces a lot like the quilts. So wonderful. Going back to your grandma's days.
Yeah, I know. You can't. You can take me out of that, but it all comes back to the same things. And I was not precious with these, so there's like staples in them and all kinds of stuff. And clearly, I'm not
super attached to them.
no, because I cut them up. I mean, I'm attached to them in the sense that I want to keep them if
Yeah,
they
you
don't go
still
out.
have them.
Yeah, and so I mean, eventually they'll be made into something. I'll probably, now that I can afford panel boards, I'll just staple them into the panel boards and paint on top. Which is kind of dumb because it actually makes it, I mean, in some ways it's neat because it does have all those secret layers, but in another way, it makes it so much more a pain in the butt to paint on because it's not an even surface and it's all super wavy gravy. And
Vanessa is asking, what is the story on this one?
so if you look at like these, so these are it's a form of magic, basically. So what they would do is take words and make them into symbols, and then those symbols would kind of represent those words. So if you took the word love and rearranged the letters so that it wasn't recognizably a um, like letters. It was a kind of a glyph. And so I was really interested in this idea of universal languages and the idea of like a language that could communicate across borders and boundaries. And so um, I had these ideas of creating this kind of spiritual language um, where I could use that. So a lot of that form language, and what I mean by that is the gestures that create those marks and the kind of repetition of that kind of pattern come from those experiments. So there are, I don't know where they are, but there's stacks and stacks of papers where I doodled these character glyphs over and over and over and over. Um, and so, yeah, so this is a part of that. And there, I went and did all these like studies on so they did used to do studies on children, and they still do. And it would be like, what is the most appealing thing for a young child? So they would say, like Teletubbies, for example, like soft shapes, bright colors, repetition. And so I was really into this idea of creating these pieces that kind of spoke to people on a spiritual level. And so like these lines, um, are supposed to break up the space, but also create a rhythm. And that comes from Buddhist art, where they would purposely, when they would carve depictions of Buddha, they would create these patterns and lines so that as you're looking at these patterns, your mind goes into this kind of other state. So the line work is kind of about that, with that repetition of lines. And now I kind of think of I don't know. I don't know.
Vanessa says, I adore that one there. And
Thanks.
Susan's saying sigils.
Uh-huh.
Marion says, witches use sigils to work magic.
Correct. And so here's another one from that series. So that's all about that kind of language. So I've always been interested in words and language and things like that. So this one's not terrible. And then I was really interested in how like different layers on top of layers would affect the layers underneath. And I had hair then, so there's a lot of hair embedded in my paintings. And I didn't have a cat then, so I can't blame the cat. But anyway, so that's how that happened. And now when you look at these works in comparison, like show that one next to it. So with these, you can kind of see where.
This, by the way, is one we haven't shown yet. This is the largest one.
That's the one that's for sale. That's actually one that you can actually buy.
Yeah.
The other ones is just for fun, and unless you really wanted some, and then we could talk. But so like you can see the difference, or like you can see how these colors are the same in the sense that I became more about mixing the paint, and then also these kind of it's kind of like there's an artist named Arthur Dove who was one of the most early American abstract painters, but he never called himself an abstract painter. He called himself an extract painter. And what he would do is he would refine shapes in nature. So there'll be like a stack of rocks or something would then become that form language. And so for me, like the botanicals are just like the words in the sense that they are a complex form that's been reduced down into this kind of motif that is used over and over. And then I'm also really into repetition of pattern, surprise, surprise. And so you'll see things where, especially like in Aboriginal art, they do a lot of dot painting. And so there's a lot of very meditative practices of painting dots over and over and over. And there's artists that I admire, like Yayoi Kusama. And so yeah, so
Vanessa says that's the one I want but cannot afford right now.
So that's how these things go.
So this one is called Where the Wind Blows, and it's $460, and it's 14 by 18 inches.
And that is layers of collage on canvas with more layers of collage on top. And then more layers of collage and painting on top. But I'm not cutting this one out. Hopefully.
Hopefully we sell it.
Yeah.
Hopefully
I like it. Around the world, there are little pieces of my story. And I always wonder what happened to a lot of the thing. Like one of my collectors, one of my major collectors, unfortunately, he passed away. And he was brutally murdered. But anyway, so I don't know where any of those pieces went. And he had an amazing art collection. And one of my pieces was hanging next to a Philip de Courcia photograph. And I can't remember the name. It's one of the Japanese artists that starts with an M, Murakami. And so these people are shown at like the Whitney and the Museum of Modern Art. And here's one of my little collages, it tucked in between those two. So you'll see, especially with like those ones, you'll see kind of a nod back to the past a lot more, in the sense that there are lots of layers, and some of the stitching you can see, some of the stripes you can see, and so yeah.
So that's the artwork.
Yeah, I've bored you all.
I don't think anybody's bored.
How many people are watching?
22.
Oh.
Wendy says, love those.
Which Wendy?
Wendy Dugan.
Oh, hi.
So,
my kinfolk. Can you tell which one's my grandma? They all have this similar look.
I know. That looks like your dad there.
Doesn't it? Let me see. I can't remember which one it is.
I feel like that one looks like your dad the most.
She's one of the little ones. I think this is her. The baby.
That's your grandmother there. The little baby.
Look at that baby. That baby.
That little baby.
But they all have that look.
Let's see here. Everyone's saying, Norman, definitely not bored. Marianne says it was fascinating. Ann says, I loved it. Jermaine said, I just got on. I'll have to watch the replay. Yeah, we went through like Andrew's whole art life.
Not whole. The stacks I could find easily.
Khalidi says, thanks for the art show, Andrew. Now everybody don't leave because we got bead blends to go over yet.
And then
so if you want to see the new bead blends, hang out.
Oh wow, there's some more.
Michelle says, great art show.
This is George M.D. Thornton.
Died by a peach pit, hit to the head.
No. I think the kids were messing around and they were throwing peaches at each other, as children do. And he got hit by the sharp point and it got infected. And then they didn't have like antibiotic. I didn't even go through the Knot series. Those are ugly paintings anyway.
There were some of these in your other ones, though. I saw some of these collaged in.
I like some things of it. Like the paint is so thick. This is all paint. And I like that. But I was like, what was I thinking with some of these colors, man?
Susan says, not bored at all. Vanessa's absolutely beautiful, Andrew. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks.
So this piece is available for sale. This piece is available for sale. Susan says, I love that painting. This one, I love this one too.
That one turned out good.
This piece is available for sale. And this piece is available for sale right now. Of course, anything's available for sale if you want to talk to Andrew. But if you saw anything else you liked in that presentation.
Yeah, but I don't know. Who wants that old stuff that's from so long ago? I don't even remember making it.
All right, everybody. Let's move this. We're dropping in people now. Now that the show's over. The show's not over yet.
Not over.
If you want luxury bead blends, give these to Andrew.
Put them back in for another 20 years.
I know. That's the first time I've seen these come out, I think, since I've known Andrew.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either, but I've never gotten such a tour, let me tell you. This is the first time.
Oh, wow.
This is the first time I've heard most of this stuff, too.
How long have we been together?
How long? 16 years?
Well, it's just the life before you. So.
Right. Who knows? The life before me. Okay, let's get out our bowl. And we have 2 bead blends today to show you. If you would like to purchase these bead blends, we'll do the same thing we've been doing. You get them for $10 instead of $12.
Yeah, good deal.
These are a good deal, especially this first one. We got lots of S word. I almost said it. Lots of S word in here. You dump some of this out. I think you're all going to like this one. We very rarely do this color, ever. I don't know if we've ever done this color. Here it is. White. Actually, AB. AB clear, AB white. So it looks like snow. I think Andrew was inspired by the snow today. Snow and the ice today. Khalees says, William, did you make the bowl? I did make that bowl. Andrew says, I'm not allowed to sell it, though. So this is We'll just call this the snow mix. You want the snow mix? Send us an email to info@allegorygallery.com and let us know how many of these you want. They come in a 2x3 bag. So this is a full, like this is a big part of the mix, and then we dump these into 2x3 bags. We sell the bags for $10 to you right now. Tomorrow these will go in the online store, and they will be $12. $12. So there's a lot of stuff in here. There's a lot of S-word crystal in here. There's AB finish stuff. There's these kind of twisted bugle beads.
You don't see that very often.
No, you got rondelles, lots of seed beads. I think this is S-word crystal in there. You got some of these various shapes with AB finish. This is really nice. If you're looking for some, like a basic and a kind of neutral, there you go. So just send us an email, info@allegorygallery.com, and through that email, we'll go ahead and invoice you for these. And like I said, you'll get them at $10 instead of the $12 retail price that they will be when they go actually online for sale. We always give you you get a little bit of a sneak peek. We'll be posting about all of these tomorrow. So nobody but y'all who watch this video are going to see these until tomorrow. So Michelle says what it's called. Let's just call it the snow mix right now.
Snow my gosh.
Snow my gosh. We'll call it the snow mix. Or you can call it the white or the clear or the AB. We'll know what it is when you send it in, especially since you only have tonight to do that. Not many different names getting mixed up in there. All right, so that is the first mix. And let me see if I can get this back in this bag. This bag is very full. Huh? I know. Yeah. We got lots of bags. It's just finding them sometimes. There we go. And then the next mix we have, this is really pretty. Is a pink and teal. Oh no.
Well, there's purples and fuchsia. There's berry colors in there mixed with kind of this kind of fantastical kind of electric blues and a little bit of hint of emerald.
Yeah, there's a lot of colors in this one.
We'll call this Fairy Magic.
Fairy Magic. That's the Fairy Magic kit.
That name may change.
Or mix. Yeah, I've not been naming them. They're like all New Day Luxury Bead Blend. But for the email tonight, call it Fairy Magic if you'd like one of these. You can see I'm trying to move them around so you can really see all the colors in there.
And the S word.
And of course the S word.
There's lots in that one.
Khalid says looks like a raspberry party.
And there's blue zircon, S-word crystal. They don't even make that business anymore.
So lots of luscious colors in that one. We'll call that Fairy Magic. If you'd like to send us an email, you'll get it for $10 instead of $12 tomorrow when they go in the online store. Also, if y'all, there's not much of this one, honestly. So if y'all bought this one out, it never makes it to the online store. So there you go too. All right, everyone.
Wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more?
There's one more. This is the salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper.
We were singing that. Somebody was singing that song. The Push It. And it got stuck in my head.
There's not a lot of this one yet.
There probably won't be. And so,
Okay, so we have snow, fairy magic, and salt and pepper. This one is the least amount, the salt and pepper, if you like this.
that's like a black hematite color, pearl, silver, and OD white.
So there you go, everybody. That's really a light mix. There we go. 3 different mixes. Andrew's artwork, Andrew's art history, and we hope you enjoyed that. Thank you. Thank you. Cody says it looks better in your bowl. That's why I try and put them in the bowl. Thank you.
The utilitarian plastic.
Not the plastic. Here, let's make this one look better. How about that? Let's see if we can do that before we go. Try not to make a mess though. I'm good at making messes. Okay, there you go. That's better than the plastic bin, right? Makes it look like a real product instead of plastic bin. There you go. All right, so there you go. Salt and pepper, fairy magic, and snow. Send us an email, info@allegorygallery.com. Please remember, we are Allegory Gallery. Do not send to allegory.com. That is not us. No matter how much we would love to have that address, it is not ours. So please send to info@allegorygallery.com. Again, it's up at the top of your screen, so make sure you get it all. And thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for spending the last almost 2.5 hours with us. We really do appreciate it. And now I'm going to go eat something, get some snacks maybe, check and see if we sold anything, see if we can afford some snacks tonight, and see how it goes, and say hi to my kitties. So thank you all for tuning in. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. And we hope you all do well out there. Please, please stay safe, stay warm, and you know where we are if you need anything. Have a great night, everybody.
See ya.